to This Is Not Pawtucket Leftist Radio. We are here live in the Turtle Shell, all of us. We have a t-shirt competition going on. We're trying to get good t-shirt designs that can also benefit the community. So the way that it works is if you are an artist, or even if you're not, if you're just feeling like your hand is good and you can draw something up, submit it. And then on May 15th, that's the submission date. Soon after that, we will decide, we will litigate which one is the winner. And then the proceeds from that shirt, 75% of the proceeds from the shirt will go to a mutual aid initiative of your choice. And so the donation would even be on your and PLR podcast's behalf. That 25% that doesn't go to the mutual aid goes to us for production and making the shirts and also distributing them all. So we're not making anything from these shirts. We're just trying to get PLR out there. We're trying to get artists out there, and we're trying to help mutual aid initiatives in town. That's what we've always been about. As always, if you like what you hear today in our interview with Evan or the regular part of the show, please subscribe to our Patreon, share it with your friends, share it with your enemies, and that's enough introduction stuff. So, how are y'all doing this week?
Fucking great. I'm doing great. How you doing, Evan?
I'm exhausted. I've been on break from work. Like, the public schools were on spring break this week. And I tell you, just doing nothing for a week. Well, it's not like I did nothing. I kind of had to play catch up the whole week. Do like adult stuff, but that was exhausting, and I am not looking forward to going back to work tomorrow. Unless any of my students are listening, in which case I missed you. And also, why are you listening to this?
Well, you never know.
Little commies, we love little children commies.
Yep, I do love little commies. That's true.
Little commies.
Little commies.
That'll be our children broadcast version of PLR for Little Commies.
The young Lil Commies network. I did want to announce real quick that even though I made a little jab at Pawtucket there in the beginning, Pawtucket does have a special election coming on for city council, and the date in which you have to declare candidacy is April 29th or the 30th. So if you want to participate in the electoral system and you think that as a city council member you can make a change, Pawtucket has a special election coming up, so keep an eye out for that. If you want to not say fuck it to the bucket, then you join up, right?
Yeah, we want the people to represent the people. We don't want career politicians out there just getting elected and then not representing anybody. Just doing whatever the fuck they want. But what I want to talk about is something super fucking important right now. It's about a sandwich I just had.
Ooh.
And it's called the Mike Schwartz. You guys heard of it? Mike Schwartz. It's from Jeff's Superlative Sandwiches. And it sounds fucking gross, but it's pretty good, right? So, tuna fish. Hot pastrami. They're already making faces at me. Munster cheese, Russian dressing,
ooh,
lettuce, and tomato on a bulky roll. It was fantastic. If you're listening and you're not vegan, check it out. Don't be scared off by the pastrami. Yeah, it's kind of a curveball, but I promise you it's going to land.
Where is it at?
Jeff's Superlative Sandwiches.
Oh, over on North Main?
Bingo.
Yeah.
Right, like around the corner from Plant City.
Yeah, it was right next to my old department at RISD.
Why did he make his name of his restaurant so fucking difficult to pronounce? Mike's Superlative Sandwiches. Jeff's?
Oh, see?
Too much.
That was the easy part, and I fucked that up.
Too many S's. Jeff's Superlative Sandwiches.
I know. If you have a speech impediment, that would be so difficult to say.
The place is fucking ableist. You know what? Don't get the Mike Schwartz.
JSS. Just refer to it as JSS.
Okay.
I think most people probably just call it Jeff's.
Jeff's?
Yeah.
But then it's kind of weird if you're like, I'm going to Jeff's for a sandwich. You're like, does Jeff make good sandwich? Who's Jeff?
His sandwiches are superlative.
I don't have any friends, Jeff, so I guess.
And if you want to,
I'm telling Jeff you said that.
if you want to make it a little different, you could even add sauerkraut on the menu. I can see it here, so you can turn that, into a sauerkraut sandwich as well. So
You
if
got
you
the
really
menu
want to
up?
get weird with it, yep.
Wait, sauerkraut and Russian dressing and pastrami—that's a Reuben.
Yeah, but throw tuna on there.
Gross.
Damn.
It was really good. It was really fucking good.
I trust you. Some weird things. One time.
You were just talking about fig pizza, right?
That's true. The fake pizza is good.
One time, Andy and I were having a night, and we were ordering pizza, and neither of us had ever had anchovy pizza before. And what was that cartoon where like the main character loved anchovy pizza, anchovies?
Like Scooby-Doo?
It was something like that. But I remember I was like, let's get anchovy pizza and try it. And when the night was young, and the feelings were up, that anchovy pizza tasted delicious. But then the next morning, leftover anchovy pizza, or just anchovy pizza in general when you're sober, is not that good. It was not good. Unless I've had the wrong anchovy pizza.
Man, I haven't eaten fish in I don't know how long, but just like tiny fish on my pizza is not appetizing to me at all.
It's going to bother me until I figure out what cartoon.
I don't mind hot pineapple though.
Oh, yeah.
I know that's
yeah.
a big no-no for a lot of people.
Oh.
I think it's fine.
I love it. I'm in it.
Teachers had the last week off, but that doesn't mean
we didn't have classes.
Yeah, that doesn't mean that the world stood still. There was a lot going on last week, unfortunately, right?
Yeah, it actually was slightly convenient, I guess, that I didn't have to go into work, because there were a lot of protests, marches, vigils, rallies, whatever you want to call them, in the last week because of just the sheer number of cases of murders of citizens of people by police, locally and not locally. It feels like it's not just every day, but it's like a few times a day you hear of a new person who has been murdered by police. Maybe they had something in their hand, maybe they didn't, maybe the cop thought that they were going for it, maybe they didn't, who knows. But yeah, it's like we got everybody from like teenagers in school to teenagers at home to just adults doing whatever they're doing, just going about your day, driving somewhere and not making it home because some person who chose to do that job also decided that their comfort was more important than someone else's life. And so it has been a very somber week, just because as a country, as we sort of try to figure out this like quote unquote return to normal in a post-pandemic situation, even though we're not post the pandemic yet, but as we try to reopen and get some semblance of our lives back, people are asking, let's go back to normal. And it's like, oh no. If normal is people getting shot constantly, then let's not do that normal. Let's do something else. So there have been more and more calls to abolish police. Some people are calling for a reform. Not us. We say abolish, defund, get rid of it, put that money into the communities, of course. But yeah, there have been a lot of events lately at the State House and other places. BLM RI PAC has been putting stuff on. Enrique Sanchez has been doing just amazing work here. I believe there's a event, an action in Woonsocket, also for people affected by gun violence. Enrique's just been all over the place doing great stuff. He's a person to follow. If you're not following him, definitely check him out. You want to follow him.
There was also, at the Dante Wright event that happened first, right? I think that was Monday.
I think, yes, Monday.
A lot of people, including us, recognized some fascist-looking people in the crowd. This one guy was all decked out in camo, and he had like a little holster on his side that he kept pulling his phone out and like texting someone.
Mm-hmm.
And it's also the event where somebody ratted on somebody that had a gun, right? Got him arrested.
Yes.
But it was like a leftist organizer, a leftist protester that some other
liberal or conservative or
Yeah.
whoever, a piece of shit, whoever they are,
Right.
felt unsafe, approached cops, and then said, hey, this person might have something under their shirt.
completely missing the point
Yeah.
of the entire protest.
Yes.
Don't call cops. If you're uncomfortable with somebody carrying a gun, just like leave or just like go to the back of the crowd or something like that. Just because the guy that was there, he was up front. Like he was right up front. And so if I were that afraid, like I would just step back. I wouldn't.
Well, if I were actually afraid that if I really thought that someone were gonna shoot up the joint, I don't know that I would just only take care of myself and like get out of there, but I would definitely engage with my people there and figure it out on Tuesday. No, not Tuesday. Wednesday.
Yeah,
It's hard to keep up. On Wednesday, there was another one.
Adam Toledo.
For Adam Toledo, who was the 13-year-old boy in Chicago who was murdered. We were that one was an actual march, and so we were like down right in front of that theater, downtown, and the march stopped, and Enrique, had the megaphone or whatever, and was like, we're just gonna do something for safety here, and he just directed everyone's attention. It was a fairly large crowd, everyone's attention to these two guys who were pretty clearly, they were like wearing the sigils of Proud Boys or whatever, some fascist group, and everybody just turned on them immediately. There was no violence, nothing needed to happen. A couple of guys like puffed up their chests and like acted like they were gonna like take out the trash, so to speak, but like
leftist chads.
Some leftists, yeah, but for the most part, no, it's just everybody was like, get out of here, nobody wants you here, go, and they did.
Were they just like following? I wasn't at that one. Were
Right.
they just like following around?
Yeah, they weren't. Well, again, it was kind of a big crowd, and I didn't see them until it was pointed out. So I don't know if they were engaging with people, but just, somebody recognized them and talked about it, and it was very easy for everyone to just expel them, get them out of there. Yeah. And it's been reported that they have been following the protesters for days.
Yeah, one of them's name is Chase Allen. Enrique actually...
so we have the identities of both of them, because the other one is Zach Pickering.
Yeah, Enrique sent me a snapshot of it to advertise that person is a shithead, and nobody should engage with him. I just imagine them like following the protests, and when like what do they do when somebody makes a good point? Like text their friends and be like, they said this. Like I don't understand the point of why they're trolling, other than, if it got to a point where they started like agitating to try to elicit a response back, then I get that. But if they're just like walking around texting each other, like what's the purpose? I don't know. I don't think there's an answer, but...
Well, the important thing is that when everyone turned around and looked at them, they're like rats, you shine a flashlight on them and they all scatter.
Well, it was we had the numbers to defeat them. There was no way that we were going to let anything happen, and actually I give props to my friend Molly, who was pushing me in the wheelchair, because rather than it was actually awesome, rather than like roll me away from this potentially violent situation, they understand my heart and they just pushed me way closer so that I could get a good picture of it.
I love it.
On a slightly related note, it was brought to my attention by Andy that there is a Back the Blue march in of all places,
Warwick.
Warwick. Yeah. And that it sucks that they fucking bastards did it on May Day, almost as like a middle finger to like the actual.
Oh, that was for sure planned.
Oh yeah.
But like, I wonder if the Proud Boys go to the Back the Blue.
Yes. Yeah.
Oh, you
I'm
think?
sure. This is just another form of white lash. You know, it's that backlash that happens in American culture every time that people of color and any kind of marginalized group by society ends up getting any kind of victory, be it real or symbolic. There's always going to be this conservative, racist element of white people that just turn around and they want to take it away. And it's happened in history plenty of times, and that's why there are all of these Back the Blue rallies that are happening right after.
The Chauvin trial.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah, but do they back the red as well? And do they back the green? Because I've seen that flag too.
What's the
What
green?
is back the green?
It was
Is that the troops?
I think it must be truce. I mean, I joked and said that it was the forest rangers.
The landscapers?
Yeah, who knows? But
Aliens.
but I have seen that flag. So at first it was like you saw the thin blue line flag and you're like, oh, whatever, police. And then the red one was kind of like, must be firefighters, and then come to learn that it's firefighters. And then I saw one that was blue, red, and green, and I was like, this is getting ridiculous now. They're starting to look like the rainbow flag at this point. Like, they're starting to look like their own
Horseshoe
enemy.
theory. Here
That's
we
how
go.
it happens. It's the gay agenda, man.
Yeah. But I mean, I wonder if they're all going to show up. Those firefighters who feel like nobody respects them, or the army people who feel like nobody respects them. I wonder if they're going to show up and back the blue in Warwick.
The only problem I have with firefighters is that as a restaurant worker, I often would be like, you know, having a totally normal morning, and then like 2 or 3 trucks would show up at the same time, just full of firefighters who would show up, and all of them are named Mike, and they all want the same thing but like slightly different. And so it's like, it was chilling here, now we're slammed, we're in the weeds, and all of the Mikes are like, hey, my egg sandwich doesn't have enough salsa on it. And you're like, man, which one are you? Are you Mike L or Mike G? And it's like, I'm Mike L. Well, give Mike G his sandwich then, damn. And it's just like, it's mad confusing.
Yeah.
That's my only issue. But like when my house got on fire, thanks guys.
Yeah.
Appreciate it.
The firefighters don't seem all that bad. They don't shoot people capriciously.
We've
so.
all seen the meme, like, no one says fuck the firefighters. There's no song that says fuck the firefighters.
It's true.
For one, that would be very hard to include in a song. It's kind of an awkward cadence.
For those of you that follow the PLR Twitter, I've started a new campaign as of today that is spreading it's making it known, the information that Patricia Morgan is a communist. I just want the conservative community around the world to understand who they let in their ranks. But the real heart of it is that she spread so much misinformation, so I figured why not spread misinformation about her. So help me spread the word. Patricia from West Warwick, who I'm sure is very happy that this rally is being held in her neck of the woods. She's a dirty commie.
Why don't we put her as like one of our contributors or something like that? You know?
Oh man,
Create a paper
She's actually
trail.
my aunt.
Yeah.
She was my first grade teacher. She taught me how to read.
So yeah, there's a lot of stuff going on. The weather's turning around, and so there's going to be a lot more activity. Hence, I bought a moped.
What kind of moped?
I would be mopeding around. It's called Zebra. It's an electric moped. So the maximum it gets is 30 miles per hour. But Rhode Island has all of these laws for gas-powered mopeds. So like a Vespa, for example. So those things go like up to 60 miles an hour. They get pretty fast. But in order to have a gas-powered moped, you have to register at the DMV and get it inspected for emissions. You could bypass all that with electric because e-bikes, as they call them, they are not subject to the laws of the DMV and stuff. Like, you don't have to register it or anything. And you can ride on bike paths with it. And all that because it's not going so fast that it will like fuck someone up, you know. So I'm just gonna be kicking it around on this moped all summer. You see me around. It's gonna be sick. Another step closer to
becoming Megatron. Maybe you can get to 35 if you slap some leaf blowers in the back and then turn those on while you're cruising.
2 leaf blowers on my backpack, like 2 arms.
Is it gonna have outlets? Can you like put a toaster in there too? Like, can you like make like smoothies while you're cruising around in your moped and stuff? Or
there is a compartment in the back for storing canned goods.
Ooh,
wink.
all right.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, like soup for your family.
Soup for my family. That I make sure to get the compartment in the back.
Gotcha.
Can we get a sidecar for the dogs to ride in?
That'd be evil.
Or a basket for the front, like
Rocky
E.T.
and Bullwinkle. Is that?
Get some little goggles for them.
Who is it? Oh man, another.
Who are the villains from Rocky and Bullwinkle? That would be Natasha.
No.
And Boris.
No, the villains that had like the motorcycle and then the little cart there. I don't think Natasha and Boris had that. Again, a pop culture thing reference that I'm just not getting tonight, not landing it. But another thing I remember but can't recall who it was exactly. Anyway, I read an article recently that Sam Bell put out about Dan McKee's attempt to cut Medicaid funding, and I just wanted to bring it up because it really fucking sucks that when these neoliberal politicians like Dan McKee seek to cut funding in the state budget, they always look to poor people's health care. That's always the first place where they're like, oh, we could trim a couple million off there. Total disregard for the fact that there are people in the state of Rhode Island that are struggling. And Sam Bell wrote a great article for Uprise just kind of explicating what are the 2 components of Medicaid that Dan McKee is trying to slash. One of them is the OUP payment, which is the outpatient upper payment, which really makes it more expensive for people to. What that actually does for Medicaid is it decreases the price, and so if you get rid of it like Dan McKee wants to, then it will increase their out-of-pocket expenses. So not a good idea. And the other one he wants to get rid of is called the graduate Medicaid education, which is where doctors in hospitals actually work with lower income peoples to understand their specific needs. So it's an education initiative that says that these people need specific kind of care and attention that doctors need to be trained in, because if they're not trained in it, then they're not going to know how to deal with people from different backgrounds, from lower income backgrounds. So both of these components that Dan McKee wants to cut out, they all amount to, I don't know, some obnoxious million, like 8 million, something like that in funding. Not a good idea. Fine. I have a great idea for Dan McKee in finding some extra money to slash the budget. Cut that police budget out. I mean, honestly, I think, what was it? Well, they wanted to allocate, was it 3 million or 30 million to the police? Which, like, obviously is so much more than what Dan McKee would be saving by slashing poor people's health insurance, elderly people's health insurance. You know what I mean? It doesn't make sense to me. But
actually, can I speak on that for just a quick moment?
Yeah.
On Tuesday, this upcoming Tuesday, the 27th, the House Finance is hearing the part of the budget that gives the police the $35 million for their new barracks. You can testify against it. You do have to sign up. Thank you to Jackie Goldman for posting about that.
Jackie.
So we know about that. Yeah, so sign up to testify against giving the police a buttload of money for a clubhouse.
And for real, you could just go there and be like, why are you giving the police all this money but you're cutting Medicaid? Doesn't make any sense.
Yeah, hi, I'm on Medicaid. I need it. Thank you. Don't kill me.
Don't kill.
I will haunt you.
Oh, what I got also came from Sam Bell follow him on Twitter, and he posted something about on Monday. There's going to be another Rhode Island Senate Finance Committee meeting, and they're bringing forward a bill to exempt Salle Academy from paying land tax, which doesn't help anybody besides them. And I was looking at who put the bill forward, and it was Dominic Riggerio. And I was like, why the fuck would he be, heading this? Pal. And then it's his alma mater. He went there. He graduated in 1966. So this is like give back, to his community and a fuck you to the community that school's built on. That's just another source of money that Providence is gonna, and we're gonna be missing out on. That could be better put into other places. And also, when I was looking at Riggerio's, Wikipedia page, I came across his arrests and legal issues.
Damn.
And there's some good ones in there. Preface, I got no problem for anyone who gets arrested. I've been arrested. I got, if you're a felon or whatever, it makes no difference to me. I don't judge. Everyone's got their life and their journey to live. But I just want to, give the highlights of this guy's, his life. So, in 1989, he was charged for maliciously damaging a car of a Lincoln businessman, Nandy Sarda, and then was ordered to stay away from Sarda after paying restitution.
Whoa.
In 1990, he was arrested for shoplifting condoms from a CVS drugstore.
Whoa.
He was not prosecuted.
Is this real?
Yeah.
This is badass, kind of.
I mean, I don't know, what kind of mindset you got to be in to, steal condoms. I'm sure he makes enough money to afford condoms. I don't know why you would steal condoms.
He's the reason why they put condoms behind the counter now. Damn it. Dominic Riggerio made it impossible for me to steal condoms now. Damn. Clearly I don't use condoms, though. I have a kid. Maybe too much information, but...
Clearly. And in 2012, he was arrested in Barrington and charged with a DUI and refused to submit to a breathalyzer. He later pleaded guilty for refusing the test, but the DUI charge was dismissed. Quick advice: always refuse the breathalyzer. Always. When you have to go to court, you can it's basically your word against their word on how drunk you were. They have no proof written down in front of you. There's no measurement of how much alcohol was in your blood system. So
can they get you for non-compliance or resisting arrest?
You spend the night in jail.
Yeah.
But I mean, spending one night in jail comparatively to $10,000+ of that DUI charge if it goes through, and it's a
but you spend one night in jail and then you're bailed out.
I was.
Some people can't afford bail.
True, cash bail.
That's why you get stuck there.
Yeah. So, I mean, you can always take my advice at your own risk, weigh it, do your own research. But it worked for him, and
he kind of looks like Elon Musk.
Ooh, he does look like Elon Musk.
Doesn't he?
Kind of.
Yeah, he's got that muskiness. You know what I'm saying?
He looks like an elongated muskrat.
Elongated muskrat. Yeah, he looks like a Elon Musk's brother or something.
So,
and based on those past deeds,
Elon Musk.
He just might be.
So you would be able to testify against this happening about this exemption for the LaSalle Academy. That's happening on Monday at 3. However, by the time this episode comes out, it'll be too late because you have to sign up to testify by 4 p.m. on Sunday. Hopefully enough people signed up to testify so this doesn't happen. There's so many organizations and institutions that don't pay taxes in Rhode Island, and they should. And this would just be another one for absolutely no reason besides Riggerio just feeling like putting it forward. So, yeah.
It's so goddamn frustrating. I mean, I could do a truck rant, a leftist truck rant about this, how they're willing to allow charter schools and stuff like that to not pay taxes and thus not get the money that would be had from these institutions that make a fuck ton of money as it is anyway, and instead propose cutting Medicaid. You know what I mean? It doesn't make any goddamn sense to me. Why, the tax on people who make higher incomes is such a bad, toxic idea to these people, but cutting Medicaid, that's a great idea. You know what I mean? That's where we can get our funding from, slashing those social services little by little.
The rich don't need Medicaid, so they don't care if it gets cut.
Religious organizations don't have to pay taxes, right? That's why all the rich people are Scientologists.
Even people who are, I believe,
So you take
clergy
Cruise.
members, their property
That's
where
Tom
they
Cruise.
live, they don't have to pay taxes either.
Say that again? Property taxes?
Yeah, I believe the clergy members, wherever they live, they don't have to pay property taxes either.
My mother is a clergy, and you better believe she's paying some property taxes.
Well, I'm only talking about what I read in this bill for Providence.
Oh, well, she's not in Rhode Island,
Yeah.
so that might have something to do with it.
Yeah, it might also depend on like the status of the church. I don't think Catholic churches pay property tax, and neither do Lutheran churches, for example. Something like that. It's them white people churches.
Well, she's a Methodist. She's pretty white, I think.
How does she feel about Method Man?
I don't think Method Man is her favorite of the Wu-Tang Clan, probably. But I also don't know where her allegiance is.
We should address this. We should find out.
We should find out.
Sharon?
That's all I got for. I mean, there's a lot happened this week, so I feel like we covered a lot, and I'm excited for the interview that we have with Evan from Cups.
2 Evans, 1 cup.
It's true. Anybody, you guys got anything else you want to add?
Go to rallies if you can. Wear a mask. There are a million reasons to go, and there are a million reasons to not go. I don't necessarily judge you if you don't go, but if you do go, I'll say hi to you. Because I'll be there.
And also don't narc on allies that are
Yeah,
there
Jesus.
if they're carrying.
No snitches.
And also, our place shouldn't be a safe place for fascists either. So
Yes, make it hard to be racist.
Yeah.
Guys, make it difficult. Make it dangerous.
I will see you on my moped sooner or later. Hopefully sooner. I'm not sure exactly when I'm getting it, but I'll be there.
Well, and once you get a sidecar for the dogs, you'll see all of us.
And also, like, if for the t-shirt competition, even if you're not an artist, if you just like suck at art but your heart's in it, just fucking do it and send it anyway. Just let us see. Who cares? Just live your life and fucking send it over.
What do you want to see on a t-shirt? You know, what shirt would you wear?
Do not send inappropriate pictures that just say Providence Leftist Radio underneath it or something. I don't want to see inappropriate things.
Alex checks the email, so yeah, you could totally do that. That's fine.
Yeah. You don't have to be an artist per se. You don't have to identify as an artist. Just get something in. Sometimes simplicity is the easiest, best option.
It's on trend.
And we will judge you.
But the cool part is that the money goes to a mutual aid organization of your choice. And there's so many great ones to choose from. So get involved in that way. That can be your contribution.
Before our next guest comes on, you should go and buy coffee from White Electric when it opens. Support them. They're going to be a workers-owned collective, and they want your business, and they're trying to do the right thing. And as leftists, we should all support these kinds of cooperative efforts to bring power back to the people.
I'm going to ask Evan if we get a sandwich named after us.
Okay.
That's what I'm going to do.
All right. Without any further ado, the other Evan.
All right. Thanks for listening. All right, we're here with Evan from Cups, which we have a lot to celebrate and talk about with Cups. They have had some recent successes that we'll hear about. I just wanted to start the interview first by asking you, Evan, to introduce yourself a little bit and introduce what is Cups.
All right. Yeah. Hey, I'm Evan. And I am a cafe worker. I've lived in Providence since like fall of 2016. Before that, I lived in Boston, and I've been a cafe worker at a number of different coffee shops over the past 6 or 7 years. And then I started working at White Electric Coffee on Westminster in, I think, June of 2018. And that's where I worked right up until the pandemic. And that's the coffee shop that all of the members of Cups work at. And the formation of Cups kind of, it's like a kind of complicated, slow formation that happened over the course of last year. Do you want me to just give you the lore?
Ooh, yeah,
Yes.
Cups lore.
Lore.
Well, I'll start in a smoky basement. No, it actually started in the park. Yeah, we started going to Dexter Park like every week, I feel like around June last year, because we were closed for quarantine, and then the owner reopened sometime in May, I think, with limited staff and totally redid the inside, so it was takeout only, up to the guidelines or whatever. And then they were open, and shortly after the uprising started. And I feel like that's what got us all talking as coworkers outside of work, because a lot of us hadn't been hired back yet. And we were all talking to each other like, oh, like, what have you heard? Like, do you think we're gonna get hired back soon? Like, and we started like just kind of cross-referencing our information. And I feel like for coworkers at like a small coffee shop, we were all relatively close to begin with. Like I said, I've worked at a number of places, and this was a place where like I really felt like everyone had each other's back and like wanted to talk to each other, like wanted to hang out outside of work, but also like not in like a culty way where like you're, because sometimes you're at a job and it's like, oh, these people, their only friends are each other, and that's hard too. So it was just like a good balance, and I felt like, I don't know, like one time I didn't have forks and my coworker was like, I'll buy you some forks. Like, you need utensils. So just kind of that vibe. Yeah, so we started meeting every week because we were getting our unemployment checks. We were unemployed. We were isolated, so meeting outside seemed nice. And like as we talked more and more, we like started coming up with grievances that we shared that had been from the recent experience, and then also just starting to find stuff that had been like issues for a long time that just kind of got brought up occasionally and then just ignored. So ultimately, the way we decided to go about doing that was to write a letter to the owners, and we kind of just decided to take collective action in that way, because there wasn't really like, there didn't seem to be like an open forum with the owner, like where we could like go up to him and express these sort of things like one-on-one. So we like came up with like a list of like 17 different things that we wanted changed, and we got a lot of people to sign it, including like dozens of like former workers that hadn't worked there in years as well. And we sent that to the owners, and that was kind of the beginning of it all, because we hadn't even talked about like organizing beyond just that informal like gathering at the park. when we were writing that letter at that point. A lot more happened, and then we actually did become an official union a few months later. But at the point of writing the letter, I think most of us barely knew what a union was.
Wow. What were, I mean, I don't know if you want to talk about this, but what were some of the grievances? And because you worked at cafes before, I wonder if those grievances were something that you experienced even before going to White Electric.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, there's stuff that you kind of come to expect at any kind of like small coffee shop, that like stuff isn't being done up to code, that the owners, I don't know, in my experience, are typically racist. Like that was one of our points, was like different staff members have brought this up as an issue, that you profile who you hire. And it's like that, yeah, that's one thing. Another thing was like put in a wheelchair ramp to make it more accessible. Like it was just like this kind of well-rounded list of things that were like specific to the place and things that we just think that should be like done everywhere. And yeah, it was kind of a lot all at once. But I don't know, that's what we felt was necessary at the time.
What were kind of the major steps in becoming a union? You know, the way you describe it, you're like, we were talking and then a couple months later we became a union. Well, can you explain to listeners who also may not know much about what a union is and what it takes to start one, much less be in one?
Yeah, well, I mean, like at first we just kind of started reaching out to people that had more knowledge about this sort of thing, like different kinds of like labor organizers. We talked to a labor lawyer at one point, just to get a sense of like what our rights were and what was like considered to be normal and what was abnormal, and if something was normalized, do we want to like fight to change it? And at first it was seeming like, okay, well, a lot of people, when they want to make something more formalized at work, they reach out to like a larger pre-existing union. So we did talk to a few of those initially, but after, like, we got a lot of like nice people who gave us a lot of really good information, but ultimately there wasn't a big enough group, or there wasn't like a big group that wanted to really like work with us in an official way, because we were just so small. And that's when we realized that we could just submit the papers and create our own union that would get recognized in the National Labor Board. And we looked up all the things that we needed to do that, and we just decided to go for it.
So there are papers. It's not like I'm thinking of a scene in The Office where Michael tries to declare bankruptcy, and so what he does is he just literally says, "I declare bankruptcy," and it's like, well, that's not how that works. So that's
Yeah, totally.
That's kind of what I'm getting at. Like, okay, so there are papers you have to fill out on a board to submit it to.
Totally, but it's like closer to that than you might think.
Sweet.
Yeah, I mean, literally, like, there was like, it was kind of two parts. The first part was, there's most of the time you have to hold an election, and then everybody takes a vote to, like, all the workers and the owners, like all the personnel involved, vote the union in. But you can bypass that by getting the owner of the business to sign a letter of acknowledgement of the union. And we submitted that to him and he signed it. So all we had to do after that was something called a card check, where you just have like, I think it's a simple majority or 2/3 of the employees like sign the card check, and then you're a union.
What was it like bringing that? What was the owner's name, or is his name, former owner's name?
It's Tom.
Tom, that's right.
Yeah.
And what was it like bringing that to Tom? Was he receptive? Was he butthurt? What was going on with him?
Well, for that, he was receptive to it, which was surprising to all of us because there was already a lot of conflict at that point. We had, like he had closed down the shop and, asked for people's keys back, but wasn't really telling us what was going on. And then a few of us contacted him and convinced him that that wasn't a good way to go. So he opened back up and rehired us. And that was the point we were at when we started talking about unionizing. And because it became clear that it's like, okay, like we're going to have to like do things like in a somewhat official way to like move forward. Like, because to be honest, like at the beginning, I don't think any of us actually wanted to go down any of these paths. Like we felt like things were close to being good as they were. We just wanted to like make sure that we had our voices heard. And it was just, I mean, it was disappointing at first that he didn't want to engage with us, because it's the sort of thing where it's like, I feel like that cafe like projects like a certain kind of I don't know, look and feel to people as like being a, I don't know, friendly neighborhood community place. And I feel like all we were trying to do is like have the reality match that image. So, but anyway, yeah, we did submit the letter to him asking for like acknowledgement of our union, and to our surprise he did sign it in, and we thought that was like a sign that things were going in the right direction.
Sure.
So he was like on board for the way that we wanted to bring things into the future.
So then what was the process of actually buying the business?
So it was the day that we actually like had the card check and like were officially recognized as a union that we got told by the owners that they were planning to sell the shop. That has been kind of disputed recently in the press. But we have all the records of like when we were told information, like emails and dates and times. And if they were planning to sell the shop before then, none of us knew about it.
What's the press debate? Because is it like people claiming that you like pushed them to sell, or?
Well, that fact was cited in the recent like Projo article, and but the owners asked them to remove that from the print edition because they didn't like that it was being talked about. And I don't know what they're thinking, because I don't know, this isn't like alternative facts land. Like, yeah, it is what it is. They decided to tell us that they were selling the day that we unionized, so that's what happened.
So they were like, union, okay, in that case we're out, you guys can deal with it.
Yep. So it was like, I guess that was like what made the previous like acceptance of it clearer. I guess it still isn't like totally clear to me why why he like oscillated from like, yes, you can make a union to like, and I'm selling the business.
Maybe he thought you wouldn't pass the card check.
Maybe, yeah, maybe. I think that was one thing that was clear from this whole process is like, it just seems like a lot of times owners of companies, bosses, they kind of think that they control like everything, and they oftentimes underestimate how like the relationships that workers form with each other. Like, I don't think that he thought that any of us really like were friends, like, because I just feel like if he had the awareness or the understanding that like we all have like relationships with each other and like genuinely care about each other, then he wouldn't have made a lot of the decisions that he made.
Sure.
Whose idea was it to operate and own the cafe as a collective now?
Well, both unionizing and a worker-owned co-op were things that were thrown out in that initial letter that I talked about. It was just like, it was a very like long and like somewhat poetic letter, because it was just like trying to offer like a bunch of different solutions to the grievances and paths forward. And so like a future of a worker-owned co-op was like thrown out there in the mix as like a potential like down the line option. And like that was not really discussed until the letter that we got sent telling us that the shop was being sold, because they said initially that they wanted to offer it to us first. They said, we want to give you some time to decide if you want to collectively buy it and turn it into a worker-owned co-op. So it was just like this sudden 180 from like, yay, we're a union, to like, oh, they're offering us the shop.
It's pretty cool though that they like gave you guys the opportunity to buy it. Well, like they preferred you to buy it, I guess.
Yeah, that's, I mean, again, like that's a cool thing, but I mean, this it's hard to even talk about, because so much happened, so much back and forth, so much changing of things, like kind of pendulum swinging back and forth. Because, you know, like I think they offered it to us, but they said like, okay, you have like 14 days now
to
like accept this offer. And like we got back to them very quickly saying like, yes, we're interested, like give us some time to like figure out how feasible this is. And that's what kind of like launched into like phase 2 of like struggle and animosity, because it was unclear from like the moment that very short window was up to about sometime like mid-January or February if they were actually planning to sell it to us at all.
So
yeah.
So you bought, I mean, so the official buy occurred a couple weeks ago, right?
Yeah, we signed all the paperwork in a law office.
Mm-hmm.
I think it was April. It was just a couple of days before my birthday. It was like April 14th or 15th.
Was it Rob Levine?
Huh?
Was it Rob Levine?
Yeah, the heavy hitter on this.
The heavy hitter? Was he your lawyer?
I don't know. It was like definitely someone else's. It was like someone else's office than like the lawyers that we were working with. So I don't actually even know. But I don't know about Rob Levine.
I think we've gone this far without explaining what CUPS, the acronym, is. Can you explain to us what CUPS?
Oh yeah, no, it should have been the first thing I said. Damn it. CUPS stands for Collaborative Union of Providence Service Workers.
So everybody that's affiliated with White Electric is in CUPS, but is everybody in CUPS part of White Electric?
That's a good question. Uh,
Thank you.
yeah, rectangle square sort of situation.
That's what I was
So far,
thinking.
yeah. So far, yes, the rectangle and the square are the same.
Okay.
Even though I guess the slight difference is that a number of people involved in cups are not working there and have not worked there and will not work there. But the majority of us are going to be are currently worker owners.
So if there's a cafe worker listening and they wanted to join Cups, they can just do that, right? They'd have to reach out to you guys.
Yeah. I mean, we're still trying to figure out how the like sort of legality, like the official recognition works for that. Because we named it that way with the hopes that it could get used by other people, that it could expand in an organic way, and that it could at least inspire people to feel like they have options at their workplace. Because to be honest, like before the pandemic, like I said, really always enjoyed my coworkers, but I never in a million years thought that they would want to put any effort or time into anything beyond just punching in and punching out. And this past year just kind of like totally just turned everything on its head with all in regards to all of that. But it's cool because it's all stuff that I've just kind of just endured silently and not seeing. I never saw any opportunities for making moves like this before we just started actually like getting together and talking on a regular basis. So I feel like that's the thing that I want to like broadcast is like talk to your coworkers, because you have way more power than you actually ever really can internalize.
Really? The cafe is closed currently, right?
Correct. Yeah. There's a lot of things that like business licenses that need to get reapproved. But we're working really hard to get it open as soon as possible. We really wanted there to be no lag time between sale and opening, but it's just the way that it worked out.
Is there going to be very much that's different?
Initially, probably not.
Okay.
We want to keep it going, and like, you know, there's people that go there every day for their coffee, and we have no idea what state they're in currently. We're there like cleaning the cafe and like, you know, calling our vendors and like utilities and stuff, and like people keep coming up and like looking through the glass, and we have to just keep saying we're not open.
I've done that. I've had like a buzzo itch that I've tried to scratch going there a couple times. The door's been closed. Yeah,
it's like a little kid at the window just.
Is it going to stay White Electric, or did you pick a different name?
It's White Electric for now, but I don't know, we already took the like lightning bolt decals off the window.
That's probably a good move.
Yeah.
So like one last question I think that I have about this, just for listeners and out of curiosity, because you mentioned that the whole thing started more or less because you guys as workers had grievances, things that you wanted to change around the shop that weren't being addressed. And so just out of curiosity, when the cafe does reopen, what is the process of addressing some of those grievances? So for example, how do you prioritize building a ramp, for example, from doing something else? How do you guys get together and collectively decide where the priorities are?
Yeah, well, the past year was cool in that way because it was like we were building the ship as we were sailing it. Like we have already like a dynamic that we share from just working together. that works, because I mean, even I feel like the way things were just like on a daily shift kind of basis was pretty non-hierarchical. Like, I mean, people kind of fell into their roles that they were comfortable with, but you know, anyone could swap out and do some dishes, you know, go down, restock stuff. Like, you know, everyone's always talking and communicating. And I think that just transferred pretty naturally to us meeting in like the meeting format. I mean, we got pretty sick of Zoom calls at a certain point, but we were meeting like every week for most of this year. And I mean, as soon as we, you know, officially like had our union recognized, and through the process of creating a co-op, there's structures that go along with that. Like you have to have bylaws, and there needs to be certain roles filled for being incorporated as a worker co-op. But I mean, none of us, the reason why we are all motivated to do this is like, none of us want to be a boss. None of us want to like just like replicate the same kinds of structures that we're sick of. So it's kind of like a freeing thing of being able to experiment with that, figure out what works, just kind of stretch out and be like, here are my needs, and let's figure out how to address them in a group setting. So I don't think that anything is super like set in stone in terms of structure, but we all show up and we all communicate, and we are excited about the process of like figuring out like how to talk about that and how to like I don't know, create like a template that can be replicated, I guess, and also just learn from other people that have done this thing already. We've talked to a lot of great people that like their whole lives are like helping people form co-ops, and having unions and co-ops exist together, and like transforming their workspaces like kind of all over the country, actually. So
that's a nice resource to have. Dang.
Yeah, that's part of why we were able to do this. It's like we are in an age of hyper communication, and also a time where we're not the only ones trying to do this sort of thing. So it's actually really easy to like call someone up like across the country and be like, hey, I saw that you were like unionizing your coffee shop. Like, can you help me? We're trying to do something else like that. And obviously all of our individual situations are hyper specific, but you take what works and apply it to you.
Now, I want to ask you this, but I mean, you and I know each other, so hopefully you're not gonna see this as like a personal thing or an attack. I just want to say that. How, as a business that is, you know, that you want to be like actively anti-racist and actively, you know, good, a good business, how are you going to, but you're in like a highly gentrified area on Westminster. How are you going to do right by the community?
That's totally a fair question. I mean, I feel like there's like a limit to how ethical a coffee shop can be in general. And like, I mean, that's certainly one of the points that I keep raising in discussions, because it's constantly on my mind. Like, we're right across from all the high schools, and like there's like the big police station down the street. Like, we're in this like really like, I don't know, high traffic, very like I don't know, somewhat intense area in town, I guess, where it feels like we do have to set an example if we're going to start talking about things in terms of politics and ethics. So we're hopefully just going to be able to start walking the walk, because we've been doing a lot of talking out of necessity over the past few months. But I'm excited to be held accountable by the community and see if what we do is what people want out of their neighborhood,
Yeah, I mean, there will be criticism. There just always will be criticism.
Right.
So it'll be good to see how y'all as a collective are able to address those concerns.
Yeah.
I have faith. I have faith in you all.
You got to. It's like the only way that you can keep pushing forward is just be like, I know that this isn't going to be perfect at all. It's going to be really messy, but I'm going to do it anyway, because I don't know. I just feel like this whole past year has been really activating for a lot of different people. And for me, the way that manifested was like, okay, what's the most immediate thing that I have power over? And for me, that was my job.
Mm-hmm.
And
well, that's part of the whole, like, imagine a better world, make a better world, possibilities, yada yada thing, right? You have to actually just be like, I don't know if this is gonna work, but I gotta go for it, because there's got to be something better than this.
Absolutely. That's really what I think our impression of it is like, all right, we're involved in this thing already, like, let's try to make it better in all the ways that we actually can.
Mm-hmm. Well, final question. Are you going to have the same vegan cream cheese that you had before?
Oh, we're totally open to suggestions there.
No. I really liked it. That's my thing. I thought it was the best.
I feel like we had multiple. We had tofutti at one point, and then we also had something else. Yeah, it was like Go Vegan or something, Go Veggie, something like that. Yeah. I'm not vegan, so I don't pay attention to these things super hard, but my coworkers do.
Well, as both a cream cheese eater and a non-dairy person, I have tried a lot of varieties, and just whatever y'all had, it was always so good. And that's such a weird, specific / basic thing to be about. Like, oh my God, they have the best cream cheese. But I'm serious. Like, it was always, it was like, let me wake up and go get my bagel, because I could have had a bagel at home, but I really like the way they do it, because you have the best.
Pressure's on.
Yeah, pressure's
right.
on. Bring it up at the next meeting, please.
All right. I mean, I think that the inventory is going to stay the same, but if there is a significant lack of cream cheese, you have it on record now that I'm going to do something about it.
Yes, consider this your first being held accountable by the community.
Yeah. All right.
I have some short fun questions for you if you want a rehash.
Sure.
What's your favorite 90s pop punk band?
Oh no.
You know the answer to this question. Don't say oh no.
Do you know the answer to this question?
I might, because we've talked about it, but I still want to hear you say it.
I'm the 2000s girl. I wasn't in the 90s was like over by the time I was listening to pop punk. Like I do have an answer though. You want to hear my answer for the 90s?
Yes.
All right, it's Jimmy Eat World.
Yes! See, that is what I thought it was.
But I'm not an expert. Don't go quizzing me on Jimmy Eat World albums.
Well, that was the next part of our interview. We were going to quiz you on Jimmy Eat World.
Every track.
All right, I put a burrito and a falafel wrap in front of you. Which one do you take?
Probably the falafel wrap.
Nice.
Just like on statistically, the falafel wrap's probably gonna be better. But
that's a good point.
All right. What else?
Favorite Gatorade.
Oh, it's blue. It's a blue Gatorade for me.
Wow, that's my choice too.
Yes, agreed.
But I feel like, isn't that the universal answer? Like, isn't like isn't that the one thing that like the world can come together on?
Some
Like, who
people
likes
are
the red
really
Gatorade?
some people are really into the red Gatorade. I'm thinking about like people who get that like red upper lip situation. And it's like, oh, you've been sipping on that fruit punch Gatorade.
Yeah.
We went
I
to
don't know.
zoo the other day, and all they had was either blue or red, and it was like a really divisive thing.
No, Nora, my daughter just kept asking why I don't like the red one. And I was like, Nora, it's gross. I'm not going to buy it for you just for you to try it and say it's gross. We're going to get the blue one because it's the safe one.
She went to town on that blue one, though. She really liked it.
Yeah.
I also like the rare purple one that sometimes comes out every once in a while. It's like the Green Ranger or something, you know? It's like
Special
it's like,
edition.
oh man, I'll get the purple.
Favorite vampire movie?
It's probably one that I haven't seen yet because I heard that Grace Jones was in a vampire movie, and I'm really excited to see that. But
yeah, Vamp, we watched that.
Yeah, Vamp is a good
one. As of right now, it's Interview with the Vampire.
All right.
Also a really great one.
Also good.
That's all I got for short questions. Anyone else?
Pancakes or waffles?
Ooh, that's good.
Ooh, pancakes for me.
Same.
You fuck. You would pick that. God damn it. I'm the only waffle person in like.
No, I got you.
Waffle, if there's chicken on it, I like a chicken and waffle.
Yeah,
well, yeah, timeless combo.
But pancakes for sure.
I think if I can come up with any others, I probably could, but I'm satisfied with the information we've gotten from you.
Yeah.
Yeah. You feel like you know me now.
Now, finally I know you. Did
lifted.
Now that I have watched the finale of RuPaul's Drag Race, the most recent season, do you feel like the right person won?
Oh yeah, without question.
Yeah, definitely. Did you know that Cory Booker and RuPaul were related?
I feel like I had that trivia fact buried down somewhere, but it was not activated. It was like I was learning it for the first time. And I guess I see it.
Sure. I sent pictures to our PLR group chat, and Andy was kind of like, do they look like they're related, or are they just both bald? I was like, that's solid. Fair enough, I guess.
Fair. Yeah. That's fair.
But it's interesting how often they have like senators on, because they had AOC on in a previous season. I don't know if she's a senator.
They should have Ted Cruz on.
No, they should not have
just
Ted
to
Cruz
see who he
on.
votes for. It'd be funny.
He would never.
He's like, I'm not voting for anyone. She's just angry.
I would hope that they would fix his haircut. But I'm not sure. Anyway,
it would all expose him for being the Zodiac killer.
Yes,
Ooh,
exactly.
Yeah,
immediately, it wouldn't fly. It'd be a PR disaster.
Well, okay, so RuPaul, if you're listening, take some of these ideas into account. You can Venmo us later for our emotional labor.
All right, Evan, thanks for coming on and talking to us about cups. I feel like I know a lot more now about the backstory and everything. It was good to hear from you.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
Happy to talk about it. We are huge fans of you and the collective and coffee.
Hey.
So we will do our best to promote alongside you on our Instagram. So whatever you share, we'll share. We want to get you guys everything that you need.
Well, thank you. I'll try to reciprocate to the best of my ability. Instagram's been kind of rotting my brain recently, and I feel like I'm in a bad relationship with Instagram, so I'm trying to get out of it. But I'll do my best.
Yeah, 100%. Take care of yourself first.
Yeah, well, when I'm boosting other projects that feel like they're energizing to me, then that makes it a lot easier.
Yes, absolutely. Speaking of vampires, Instagram is such an energy vampire, just as its own thing. Every time I get on it, I'm like, ugh. But
Yeah.
we're very excited for the reopening, and we're very excited that it's going to be what it's going to be. So keep us updated so that we know when to show up.
For sure. We're trying to get it open for May. It probably won't be May 1st, but early May for sure. And then it's going to be pretty close to summer, and people hopefully will just be able to hang out again, maybe still distanced, but I don't know. I'm trying to like envision a good summer.
Yes, manifest that good summer.
Yeah.
What would we as a podcast have to do in order to get a sandwich named after us in said cafe?
Oh man. Well, maybe you just need to come up with a good enough name.
The PLR
Ooh.
Peppercini.
Hey,
I don't know.
that might work.
Ozzy didn't like that one.
Yeah, I was
No,
really
the
bad.
dog growled at that.
Ozzy. Yeah. Well,
I'll be thinking
I don't
about
know.
names.
We've had some like pretty like outlandish names on the sandwich board in the past, so I feel like nothing is really too that far-fetched.
Good to know. Good to know. That feels like a challenge.
Yeah. No, we love naming things.
Sometimes the name comes first, then you're like, what will this be? Like, what could possibly be on this?
Yeah.
Pickles, lettuce, and
Rutabaga.
Radish.
Radish. Oh, ew.
Yeah, maybe not. Well, all right, we'll have to
We'll
come back. We'll bring it to the next meeting.
Reuben. People's leftist Reuben.
We'll work on it. We'll have our own
Yeah.
committee meetings.
Okay.
We'll have to reconvene.
All right. So before we let you go, I just wanted to ask, is there any way that people can help Cups right now? What can people do to help you?
Yes, and just to anyone who already has helped us, thank you so much, because we raised our down payment for getting this place over the past few months, and like there's been so much outpouring of help already, and it's been really amazing and energizing. But we are going to release a compilation album on May 3rd for Bandcamp Day that features a lot of amazing Providence and Rhode Island based musicians and a number of people that have worked in the coffee shop are also musicians. So I'm going to feature all of them, and that's also going to benefit us to get us up and running.
So people can go to Bandcamp and give you money in that way.
That's right. Yep.
Marvelous.
I think it's just Cups Co-op. Wait, I should have the link. Cups Cooperative, Cups.
We'll post it on the show.
Yeah, we'll post it.
Do you have a musical guest that you want to plug right now that we can play at the end of the show?
Sure. My friend's name is Raina Russum, and she's an electronic musician who is not based in Providence anymore, but she grew up here and has released a lot of material that's really site-specific and engaging with the history here. So I'd love to play some of that.
Cool. Sounds great. Thanks for coming on. Again.
Thank you. Thanks again. This was fun.
Bye.